Hi, welcome to Glow's Kindred Kitchen, and I'm Glow. Today we are going to be making some banana nut bread, and I wanted to share this with you. What prompted me to do this today is I had 2 overripe bananas I needed to use up, and I thought what better way to do it than with banana nut bread. So right now I've got my oven preheated to 325 degrees. With this particular recipe, it will cook longer at a lower temperature. So it's going to take an hour and 20 minutes to bake in the oven. But anyway, I thought I would do this with you guys, and let's go ahead and get started. I wanted to share with you the ingredients I have that we're going to be using. Here I have 1½ cups of granulated sugar. And I have 1/3 of a cup of buttermilk, but I didn't have buttermilk on hand, so what I used is I have whole milk, and I put about 1.5 teaspoons of white vinegar in it. So it makes it nice and thick, and it's perfect to use as a substitution. Then it calls for 2 overripe bananas. I already peeled them and I mashed them up with my fork. It calls for 2 beaten eggs, which I have right here. 1/2 cup of cooking oil, and we're going to be using canola oil. And then 1 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and I keep my baking soda in a little jar like this. And then it calls for 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So, and also I use the banana extract and the real vanilla extract in it. And I'll be putting in 1/2 teaspoon of each of that. And also nuts. So these are walnuts that I've chopped up, and I'm going to go ahead and put them in this pan that I'm preheated. I'm going to toast these, and it won't take long to toast them, but what it will do is give us a lot more flavor in our banana nut bread. So what I'm doing is just putting them along the bottom of the pan here. And I have this set on 3½, which is like a medium-low setting, and it won't take long at all. As soon as I start to smell the aroma of those nuts, I'm going to stir them and then let them cook for a little bit longer. At the most, this takes 1 or 2 minutes. But while that's toasting, let's go ahead and just start in with our ingredients. I'm going to put the 1½ cups of granulated sugar in there. We're going to put in the 1/3 of a cup of buttermilk. And I'm going to go ahead and I can start to smell those nuts already, so I'm going to just stir them a little because we don't want to burn them. Can you smell those, Richard?
Yep. Yes, I can.
Yeah, they smell really good.
They really do add to that.
Yep. And while that's finishing up, I'm going to go ahead and measure out my 1/2 cup of canola oil. You can use vegetable oil, whatever you have on hand. And I'm just using the same measuring cup that I use for my milk. That way it's less cleanup.
Might as well.
There we go. I'm just going to go ahead and put that over here and get it out of the way. Let's see how these are doing. They're almost done. You can also use pecans in this recipe. This one we just had on hand in the freezer, was the closest, so we went ahead and used that. 2 well-beaten eggs. I'll go ahead and put that in. And by getting all this stuff ready ahead of time, it saves you time when you're putting it together. Let me put the top on my oil so I don't spill it and make a mess. And it's time to take these nuts out. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this over to this burner and let them just set in there to cool. You don't want to leave them on that burner though, because that's hot and it would continue to cook. Let me just move these out of the way. So the next thing let's do is let's go ahead and put our bananas in. I haven't made a banana nut bread in a while, and I don't know why, because it's always so good. So now we just are going to stir this up. And this is called a Dutch or Danish whisk, and it works great for stuff like this to mix. When you look at that, you wouldn't think it would, but it stirs everything up really nice. All you want to do is just stir to combine. See how quickly that came together?
Yes, looks good, Miss Flo. Once the bananas are at that point, this is the only way I can eat them. I like them when they go green to yellow.
Yeah, he likes his bananas more green, and I like them when they're yellow or getting a few little freckles on them. What you can do is you can put your nuts into your flour if you want. That will prevent them from, going to the bottom, and I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Covers them with the flour. It's not necessary, but I thought since I had this step, might as well do it. So right now I'm just going ahead and scraping out the rest here so we don't waste. There we go. Let's just go ahead and mix this up. And to this, I'm just going to go ahead and add the baking soda and the salt. And I'm using the pink Himalayan salt today. There we go. So now I'm just going to pour that in here. There we go. And I'm just going to stir this up. And then we got our extracts here too we need to add. And since I'm using this 1 teaspoon, I decided to just add this at the end. You can add it along when it was just liquid, but either way is fine. But that's about a half of the banana extract. And we'll do the same of the vanilla. There we go. Let's see how easy this came together.
Looks pretty easy, Miss Glow.
And I went ahead and I prepared my pan ahead of time. And we'll just bring that over. There. So this is just a 9x5 loaf pan. And so what I did is I sprayed the butter in the bottom and along the sides. And then I cut myself a piece of parchment paper. I just put that down in. And then I sprayed the pan butter spray again on the parchment paper. Okay. Now we're just going to pour it in. By putting the parchment paper in there, it will help for us when we're taking this out in case it were to stick. And I just thought I'd show you that trick today.
Good idea, Miss Glow.
It does help. Oh, it smells so good. And by toasting those nuts, it makes a huge difference.
They do.
Also in cookies and cakes, And as you can see, it didn't take any time at all to do that. There we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven. It's preheated to 325 degrees, and it'll be in there for an hour and 20 minutes, and I'll be back. See you then. Well, I just took this out of the oven, and it did take an hour and 20 minutes at 325. And look how delicious that looks, and it smells divine. Did want to show you something. Look how it rose, and it was about ready to go over on that side. So if you're going to make this, make sure you use this size of a pan, not anything smaller, because you would have a mess in your oven. But anyway, we got to let this cool now before we have it. So I'll be back in a while and we'll taste test it. Well, now it's time to taste test this banana nut bread, and I got to tell you guys, it smells so good. Look at this.
Let me give it a shot here, Miss Glow. Yep, looks good.
It's still slightly
smells
warm.
Good too.
Dick, you won't like this. It's not good at all.
I won't like it.
I'll see you later. I'm just kidding, yeah.
I'm going to put butter on mine.
This is delicious. It's really good. Smells like bananas and the walnuts, and yeah, and so moist. You know how some nut breads, they're dry? This is not dry at all, and I think it's due to the buttermilk along with the oil.
Good, because we have to recheck it if it's dry.
And the top has a nice little crunch to it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, we would appreciate it if you would. Give me a like and a thumbs up and a comment. Wish you were here to have a piece of this with us. I'll talk to you later. Bye.